Hello and welcome to the CFB Battle Royale. I am your host Greggles, and we are going to be taking a look at the MAC, the Mid-American Conference. So this is a 12-team conference, and yeah, let's get started. Hopefully the internet connection issues have gotten a little bit better. I've been trying to troubleshoot it. I restarted my router and my modem, but neither one seems to be doing much in terms of the stream quality, so we're just going to hopefully keep going. The winner of the Independence was Notre Dame. So now, so far, the finals, we have East Carolina. Actually, I have it written down. Let me look this up. we're gonna start going as we talk about this. My cat also may be meowing as we do this, so please, I apologize, but I've been trying to keep him quiet. He does not want to stay quiet. So the winners so far have been East Carolina in the American, Syracuse in the ACC, Michigan State for the Big Ten, Texas for the Big 12, and Notre Dame for the Independence. And then also Conference USA was, oh, I actually didn't write that one down. I should write that one down. Conference USA was, who won Conference USA? I had the video saved, so I can go back and check it, but I believe it was North. It wasn't North Texas, but Rice won Conference USA. So there we go. I figured it out. And so all right, continuing on with the MAC. Let's see. I never introduced anyone, so we're in at the top we have I believe that's Akron. So let me just double check here. Yeah, so we have Akron in the top. We have Ball State in Schumann Stadium. We have Bowling Green and Dwight L. Perry. We have Buffalo and UB Stadium. Central Michigan and Kelly Short Stadium. Eastern Michigan and Ryan Earson Stadium. Hi, cat. We have Toledo down at Dick's Stadium. We have Northern Illinois and Fred C. Or no, sorry, that's Miami of Ohio and Fred C. Yeager. Northern Illinois and Husky Stadium. Ohio is in Peden Stadium. Toledo's in Glassball. I said Toledo. Sorry, this is Kent State. Kent State's in Dick's Stadium. Toledo's in Glassball Stadium, and Michigan or Western Michigan in Waldo Stadium. That's what happens when you go on colors, not actual info. And so many teams in all of the conferences I've learned have very similar color schemes. So hopefully it doesn't come down to Kent State and Toledo, because on the mini-map that's just impossible to see. Ball State has started worshiping a pantheon of gods, giving them faith if they win a battle within 4 tiles of their city. That is very easy to do since everyone is going to be in such close quarters with each other. Bowling Green, as you can see, already has their scout out. Everyone else still just working on their tile improvements and expansion. As we saw for BYU last game, when they sent the scout out first before anything really happened, that worked okay, but their focus should probably be more on conquering and war efforts. But they do already have a second worker, so they're going to increase their production by quite a bit compared to everyone else. So they're really going for the expansion effort first, then working on the military effort after that. So that's going to give them a slight advantage in going off the start, but maybe not so much going down the road. So we'll see. Let's see what happens. Like all the other games before it, I would expect to see the first military unit around turn 80, whereas all of the wars probably will start happening around between turn 150 and 200. So, at least based on past info, that's when we've seen it. Hello! He is very angry, and I'm not really sure why, so... Hello, hi. Hi. You want to say hi to everyone? Okay. Alright, so nothing happening yet. I don't see any... Oh, there we go. There is a catapult in Central Michigan. So Central Michigan is the first to get to military units, building the ever-trusty catapult that everyone seems to want to build first. Everyone else, not there yet. Even surprisingly, Bowling Green with their 2 workers has not been able to get that much of a production bonus. Where'd their second worker go? They had 2 workers. I saw them. Did they get rid of one? The stream cut out? Oh, the Independence stream cut out? I'm sorry, guys. So the Independence ended with just a crazy war between BYU and Liberty, and I don't know when it cut out, so I'll just kind of recap the end a little bit. There was a joint war between Liberty and Notre Dame against BYU. Notre Dame easily handled the top 2 cities of BYU, and Liberty went for the last one after having to fight through pretty much the entire BYU army. BYU got defeated, so it was just Notre Dame, but Notre Dame ended up sniping that lower city, so they controlled all 6 capitals outside of Liberty's. And then Liberty did immediately get declared war upon by Notre Dame, who basically, it took a while, a lot of back and forth between the 2 of them, but then Notre Dame did finally push through with the help of bombers. Oh, okay, so yeah, after a long war, surprisingly, between the 2 of them, Notre Dame just never really seemed to commit to actually sending their military into Liberty's territory, so they waited until they had a little bit more technologies, bombed it with a ton of bombers from BYU's original capital. Or no, sorry, from UConn's original capital. Bombed Liberty Stadium to no health and then just snuck in there with an infantryman and took it. So that was how that ended. I apologize that the stream cut out. I'm guessing I've just been watching too much YouTube, being at home all day, and working from home, so I've been just listening to music, watching videos and movies and stuff while working, and so my internet company probably hates me, and the stream quality is suffering for it. So I actually should probably start recording this just in case it does go out. There we go. So I'm going to record that. Hopefully, just in case this does go out, I can at least cut it together for the YouTube video that I will be posting on my YouTube channel, which has been created, but I don't know what it is. I think it's just Greggles. It's either Greggles or Greggles 90. Not sure. I think it's Greggles 90. Pretty sure it's Greggles 90. Yeah, it's definitely happening to everyone. Internet. This is probably the most traffic that a lot of internet providers have had. I know I've seen like Valve and Steam are breaking records, like 21, 22 million concurrent players and stuff like that. So it's just nuts what's happening right now with everyone cooped up in their house. And it's a big burden to pretty much everyone who's used to staggering services like that. So, all right, back to the game real quick. I do see now that it looks like Miami of Ohio, yeah, Western Michigan, and Central Michigan and Bowling Green all have military units. Bowling Green having 2 catapults. I don't know where that second worker had. Oh, really? Did it downgrade to SD? Really? So Netflix had to downgrade to SD in Europe because of the traffic. That's interesting. That really sucks. That sucks really badly. So that's probably why my internet quality is not doing so well. So if the stream goes out now, I am recording it, and I will record all the future games. At least, luckily, the first ones went well, so we'll miss the ending. Because I was downloading them from Twitch originally, just downloading the VODs. And I was going to edit them and do the individual rounds as their own YouTube videos and upload those. So we may miss the end of the Independence. Hopefully, maybe the VOD caught it. I doubt it if the stream cut out. So hopefully the explanation given here was good enough for what happened at the end of the Independence. And now we won't have that problem. So, all right. It looks like Ohio now has 3 catapults. The Huskies have 1. Miami of Ohio has 2. It looks like Eastern Michigan's building a lot of caravans and has a great general, but no military yet. Central Michigan has 2 catapults. Bowling Green still with their 2 catapults. And Western Michigan with their 2. Akron doesn't have anything yet. They haven't even built a single general. Neither has Ball State. No general, no caravans, nothing. So that is not good for them. You want to focus on military early. Buffalo hasn't built anything either. They're all focusing on expansion and tile improvements, which are great, but you want to have something to back them up. Same thing with Northern Illinois. Oh, no, wait, they have a catapult. Never mind. Catapults won't do great for defense, So you still want to have at least some military units. The Bobcats marching 110, so Ohio does have a marching 110 unit kind of out scouting around. They should be able to see that their neighbors to the north here in Toledo, their neighbors to the far north here, not really neighbors, but they're close neighbors in Akron have nothing. Across the way over in Ball State, those are very far. I wouldn't go there yet. I would start with Toledo and then maybe go down to NIU and then keep working from there. But NIU did just get Victory Husky, so that's going to help them a bit. Miami of Ohio has the usual start we've seen with 3 catapults and a swordsman. Kent State doing pretty good with 3 catapults. Bowling Green does have 6 sick. Central Michigan now has 3 catapults and a swordsman. Bowling Green now has their 6 sick, like I said, the spearmen and 3 catapults as well, so they're doing really well to start. I would expect to see Western Michigan to go to war with Akron and Bowling Green to go to war with Ball State here, if anything were to happen. So far we're at about turn 130 and no wars, so we're not usually where they start yet. We're still in the part where everyone's figuring everything out. I see another marching 110 and 2 more down in their land. So Ohio has discovered the marching 110. And they are building them out rapidly. So Kent State has caught up. They built their military. I could see them and Central Michigan maybe joining a joint war against Eastern Michigan. Toledo has built 2 caravans, which is not what you want. A joint war between Ohio and Western Michigan would easily eliminate them. But if I were Western Michigan, I wouldn't declare a joint war. I would just try and do it greedily and take Akron or Toledo or both. Take one, and then if you have the military strength, immediately take the other. I would take Akron because that puts you right up against Schumann Stadium with Ball State, who hasn't kicked anything into gear yet. So if you could take Akron, or if you're Bowling Green, I would do the same thing. Take one, and then that puts you right up against the other, which you can easily walk in and take. Akron finally builds their first unit, which is a caravan, which is the wrong kind of unit at this point in the game. I mean, even Bowling Green has these 2 right here and Buffalo to the south, so there's a lot of teams that are in prime position for teams like Michigan State or Bowling Green to just freely take over and then use as jumping points for everything else. Ohio has a very large military, and down here you can see Akron, Toledo, Buffalo, Ball State, and Eastern Michigan have nothing. I mean, even Northern Illinois and Central Michigan have close to nothing. Wait, why does Central Michigan have close to nothing? They have a ton. Right? Weird. Is that the wrong stat, or am I looking at the wrong team? That's definitely Central Michigan. Not really sure what that stat meant. Alright, so Ball State does now have a horseman. So that helps them a little bit, but that's going to get easily overpowered by anything that either of these teams would send their way. And I'm really just saying these teams because they're in closest proximity. Ohio would do great right now with their military to go after someone like Toledo. If Ohio makes a move on Toledo and captures it, Western Michigan needs to make that move on Akron just to make sure that they have 2 cities. I at least that's what I think. I think that would be the smart move. So, still no wars yet. We're at turn 163, which is okay. We didn't get into any wars in the independence until, what, like 2 something? So this is not abnormal. You can see the wave. My favorite part about this little micro battle royale is you can see the wave of units shifting as the turn goes around the map. Akron gets the Great Library. Now we'll see who's going to build the Terracotta Army. Is it going to be a team like Eastern Michigan or Buffalo who's not going to be able to use it at all? Or will it actually be a team like Ohio or Western Michigan or Bowling Green who would benefit greatly from it? Or Miami of Ohio or Toledo or Kent State down here. I haven't really talked about that much, but Miami of Ohio could easily go after Northern Illinois, and Kent State has free reign of Eastern Michigan. I mean, if Eastern Michigan can get beaten by a brick wall, then I would think Kent State's military can easily push them over. So, alright, keep going. Turn 180 coming up here. Still no declarations of war yet, and that's okay. We know that this map doesn't have any technical problems. I know this one works because this is an exact clone of the map used for... actually, is this the first 12-team conference? I think this is. And there we go. So Toledo builds the Terracotta Army, and there it is. The team that has no military builds the Terracotta Army. So they have kept teams that have actually have any military from getting it, which is a smart move. It sounds stupid, I know, but that was more of a preventative wonder than a beneficial wonder. Like, you're not going to get anything out of that, but you prevented a team like these major power army teams that have a need for the Terracotta Army from getting it. So Buffalo does now have 2 horsemen. That's going to help them out, but again, not much. Ball State has founded a new religion on top of their 2 new caravans that they have. Not going to help them if Bowling Green decides to get into gear and attack. I saw you. There's a horseman in Akron. So now I think everybody but Toledo has a military unit, because even Eastern Michigan now has a composite bowman. So I don't see a military unit for Toledo, so I think they're the only ones. And it looks like my stream quality is actually back in the green for now, so it's fluctuating between orange and green and red. So we'll see if it stays there. Ohio's on the move, so the Bobcats are going to be going against somebody. Nope, wait, they're coming back. They're grouped up, so they're going to war soon. Let's see who they're going to go against. I would think it's going to be Northern Illinois? Yes, it is. So Ohio declares war on Northern Illinois. That's a pretty easy war for them. Eastern Michigan builds the Statue of Zeus, which will help their military, but they don't have one, so that's not going to do much for them right now. But if they can build one quickly, that'll help them out. So Ohio rushes in, immediately takes care of the Northern Illinois Army, bringing Husky Stadium down to about half health, now down to the red, and then defeated. So that is an F in the chat for Northern Illinois. They are the first team eliminated pretty swiftly by Ohio. So that is going to give the Bobcats a warmonger penalty, but they have a lot of military units left. The marching 110 is pretty solid, and but now they are up against Miami of Ohio, who has a really good military. So here come the denouncements: Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan, Miami, all denouncing Ohio for that blatant act of aggression. Not like they wouldn't do the same. Here's Buffalo's. Which is funny coming from a team that has no army. Buffalo has to worry about Bowling Green invading. But this should be the catalyst here. Ohio's keeping their units down on the south end because they want to make sure Miami doesn't try anything funny. And there it is. So Eastern Michigan and Kent State are going to declare war on Ohio. Kent State has to get out of this border between Eastern Michigan to even get up there. So Ohio should be... Oh, wait, sorry, I misread that. Kent State's declaring war on Eastern Michigan. So Kent State and Ohio have declared war on Eastern Michigan. So Kent State's going to rush in there, and Ryan Earson Stadium's going to immediately start taking damage. Eastern Michigan's one military unit is pretty much gone. They built a catapult the last second to stop it again. That's not a really good defensive unit. So Ryan Earson Stadium down to about a third health, and there it goes. It gets captured. So that is the end of Eastern Michigan. That is an F in the chat for the Eastern Michigan Eagles, and good job to Kent State for capturing that city. And now here come the denouncements for Kent State. Well fed, everyone's pretty okay. Frank's Solich in Ohio does not have very good food, but that's just because he has a large military, so that's okay. So now we're starting to see consolidation. So teams like Bowling Green and Western Michigan need to think about their own invasions. And Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio is in an unfortunate position where they're stuck between the two teams that got new cities. And here we go. So here's some of the teams working their way into better positions. Bowling Green finally invades Ball State along with Akron. Akron's not going to do much. They have a single trebuchet and a knight. That won't be enough to capture a city. Especially if they can even get into Schumann Stadium around Bowling Green's military. So to answer your question, how's the AI personality program for each school? Each school has been custom programmed to usually, I built each of the AI myself, or each of the mods. All of the AI is usually pulled from another official civ and then slightly modified to fit each school. So let's say these unique units. Sick is, I believe, a longswordsman. I tried to pick something that's close to each school, like for instance, what's a good one? I think that one of Western Michigan, since they are the Broncos, which are horses, one of their unique units is a horse, so it would replace a cavalry or a lancer or something horse related. And I would just tweak it so it's not completely a copy of another civilization, but it's just a slightly modified version of that. So that's how the AI has been programmed for each school. So they're all unique, they're all different. The only thing that's the same for each of them is all of them have the same leaders for fairness in this game. So, and it looks like Akron actually sniped Schumann Stadium from Bowling Green. So Bowling Green does not get the expansion. Akron does. They snuck in there at the last second and took Schumann Stadium. Wow. I am shocked by that. And then Bowling Green and Kent State, so it's okay. They get another shot. Bowling Green is going to join with Kent State against Buffalo. Kent State has to go around Central Michigan to get there, so I don't think that's going to happen easily, at least. They could still do it. And Bowling Green's going to invade Buffalo. So that snipe by Akron was huge for the Zips. And Akron has since denounced. And then now there's Ohio and Western Michigan going to declare war against Akron. And Ohio probably not going to be able to get there in time. Western Michigan absolutely going to go for Infocision Stadium. And then Bowling Green moving into UB Stadium with their 6-6 unit leading the way. And then UB Stadium is basically surrounded at this point. Starting to take damage. No, not too much yet. It's slow going. No damage yet for Infocision Stadium from Western Michigan, but they're just getting set up at the moment. It takes 2 turns to get a trebuchet set up and then ready to fire. UB Stadium down to about half health. Tons of units. They do need to bring in this pikeman down south to actually capture the city. Or just any other melee unit, but for right now they have not done so. Here he goes. There he's starting to move. Akron is actually using that second city to quickly produce units and match Western Michigan's invasion force. Not necessarily in numbers, but just in the ability to counterattack, which is huge. They weren't able to do that originally, so that just shows getting Schumann Stadium was a huge help for Akron, who was on the verge of getting attacked and invaded and eliminated. Bowling Green's invasion of UB Stadium is completely petered out. It's gone. They if they had gotten Schumann Stadium, they would have won this war against Buffalo. But because they didn't get it, they lost that production bonus, and now they're stuck. Toledo does get the Great Wall of China, which we've seen before is really helpful for them, especially since they were so far behind in terms of military strength. Infocision Stadium has been... They've won. They won that war, I would say. They lost a lot of their military, but they repelled a much larger force in Western Michigan and managed to strike up a peace deal with them. So they won, I would say. Central Michigan and Miami of Ohio are going to go to war with Kent State. That's going to be bad for them. I would say Buffalo has also managed to hold on, and Bowling Green's not going to try again, at least for another few turns. So this war between Central Michigan and Miami against Kent State is 2 of the other big powerhouses that aren't Ohio, Western Michigan, and Bowling Green. Both of them coming together against the third power in the area of Kent State. But now it's a 2-front war. So Miami easily coming in here with most of Kent State's militaries against Central Michigan and going straight for the capital in Dick's Stadium. And meanwhile, I mean, there's the declaration of peace from Kent State and Buffalo, because that wasn't going to happen anyway. They have bigger things to worry about. Yeah, this is just 2 militaries combining their strengths, which basically at this point double the military strength of just a single Kent State. And now, with the military of Kent State basically defeated, both teams can rush in and start doing damage on the cities. Kent State trying to push against Miami of Ohio, who made it to Dick's Stadium, but they pushed them back towards their own territories. But that allowed Central Michigan to come in here and start actually doing damage to Ryan Earson Stadium. So for right now, they're okay. Neither team has been able to do significant damage to either city, so they're okay for now, but their military is destroyed. Ohio makes peace with Akron because they're too far away to really fight that anyway. right now. Give it some time. Maybe if they can work their way up through Toledo and then maybe Western Michigan, they can get there. But they're too far away for that right now. Bowling Green and Buffalo make peace. Bowling Green needs time to rebuild, regroup, especially with Akron now actually outpacing them potentially in terms of production in the north. So Miami of Ohio and Central Michigan have managed to destroy Kent State's military, but have not made any significant progress towards their capital captures. But Central Michigan also isn't sending in their full force. They have a lot of guys around Kelly Short Stadium that haven't joined the fight. So they're not bringing their full potential. They aren't showing if they are capable of taking it completely open Ryan Earson Stadium. There's no one there to defend it right now. You send that trebuchet up, set it up, bring the composite bowman with them to protect it, bring these two in it slightly delayed so that they don't get bombarded to death before it's ready, and you have a good enough invasion force to probably take Ryan Earson Stadium, while also building maybe a secondary melee unit back there just in case. But Kent State has managed to push back against Miami of Ohio and push them back into their own territory. They're not crazy enough to go fighting and trying to capture Fred C. Yeager Stadium, but they have at least, well, maybe they are. They're sending a trebuchet, so... But he's not going to go for it. Ohio's on the move. They're going to probably go to war with either Western Michigan or Toledo. But we'll see that in a few turns. Buffalo has finally got the message after their invasion from Bowling Green and has built a military. The Marching 110 are on the move. Where are they going to go? I think they realized how big Western Michigan and Akron are now, and they're heading back home. Like I said earlier, is they, unlike us who can see the whole map, they can only see directly around their own territory and what their units can see. Other than that, they have what we call the fog of war. So for them, this whole map looks like a lot of either clouds or shadows, and they can't see accurately how big a team actually is until they have a unit right in the area able to look at their city or their armies. So people have the most gold. It's definitely Buffalo and Akron, which is surprising because of how late they started. And down at the bottom is Central Michigan and Bowling Green. Bowling Green is broke. And 2 failed wars will do that to you. So Ohio's pulling back. If I were Ohio, I would just go attack Miami right now. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. They moved in. They're surrounding them. They've moved south. It's either going to be Miami or Kent State. If I were them, it'd be Miami. Not Kent State, but I think they're going to go for Kent State. They're going to go for Kent State. Here comes Ohio. They can see that all the stadiums are pretty much undefended at the moment. They're still at war with Miami and Central Michigan. And there's that declaration of war by Ohio. So Ohio's sending in their almost full force. They've left a couple marching 110s behind at home. And Kent State's going to need all they can. So they make to defend themselves. So they make peace with Central Michigan, which is going to stop them from coming in here and picking off their military units produced in Ryan Earson Stadium. They haven't made peace with Miami of Ohio, I don't think. And at this point, they don't need it because Ohio's blocking any access to them anyway. So Dick Stadium is beginning to take damage. The Marching 110 are pressing in. Trebuchet and bow and arrows in the area to stop them. Down to just under half health. Down to the deep red. Marching 110 right there to capture it. There's the peace deal with Miami of Ohio. Dick Stadium has no health. You got to get one of these Marching 110 in the area to do it. So far, no good. Got to get this guy just right there. No, they're going to pull him back. They're trying. The Marching 110 reinforcements are coming, I think. Nope, never mind. No, they're not. And they're going to retreat. So Ohio failed to invade. They had Dick Stadium down to no health, but they stubbornly left the city surrounded by units that can't capture it, leaving the units that can capture it out back and not able to invade. So that was a failed invasion by Ohio, losing the most of their military. Toledo actually has a pretty decent sized military now. Akron has a huge military now. Kent State, Miami of Ohio both have no militaries, and that's just because they're recovering from, in Kent State's case, 3 long, very, very bad wars for them. In Miami of Ohio's case, 1 failed invasion attempt. Ohio does add insult to injury and land bombs Fred C. Yeager Stadium as well. So Buffalo does have the Bulls 1, which is, I believe, is their cheers section. So, and there is the declaration of war by Central Michigan and Toledo against Ohio. So they've weakened themselves. Here comes Akron and Buffalo and Miami of Ohio for good measure. So Ohio's going to make peace with Kent State because their warmongering has gotten them a lot of attention, and now 3 new war declarations, one of which by a team that is actually very threatening, one by a team that's threatening but far away, and another by a team that's still rebuilding, so not too bad. I think Akron declared... Did Akron declare war on them? Let's double check real quick. Akron is at war with Ohio. Yes, so that's bad. I mean, look at this. Ohio's at war with everybody but Kent State and Western Michigan and Bowling Green. So everybody hates Ohio. Here comes Buffalo. They're actually sending in a military. So that's very bad because Toledo probably won't capture anything, but they're going to destroy Ohio's military. And probably maybe get to the cities and do a little bit of damage. As you can see here, they're around Peden Stadium. Hey, how's it going, CD Falcon? Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you've been doing well. Hope you guys are surviving quarantine. I know I'm in Orlando, and they just announced a shelter in place for 2 weeks here. So we are stuck in the house for 2 weeks. We can't leave unless it's for essentials like groceries or anything like that. So that's why we're doing this. So Toledo is doing pretty good. They have Peden Stadium down to about half health. Buffalo is getting there with their initial army, and I see 2 spearmen for Toledo that can capture Peden Stadium. If they can't get it, then they're basically handing it to Buffalo, but they have 1 left, and if he can stay alive, they can capture it. It's down low enough, and they can't get him in time. So Ohio does send a marching 110 in there to defeat Toledo's attempt, but here comes Buffalo and Akron, and Peden Stadium is captured by Buffalo. So Ohio loses their capital. That is a huge blow to the Bobcats. And now they're going to move straight on without any time lost. Husky Stadium's down to the yellow. Now it's going to probably be down to the deep red. There it goes. And then it's going to be captured by one of these 4 melee units. And there it goes. So Buffalo captures Husky Stadium, taking Ohio out of the game. That is an F in the chat for Ohio. And a great job by Buffalo, but now they're in the predicament where they're going to have to defend 2 territories on opposite sides of the country from each other. So if a war is declared by any of these guys and these guys, they're going to have to split their army in half, and that's going to be really hard to do and maintain. So Ohio's out. Akron has a massive army for a team that was on the verge of death. Sniping that city in Schumann Stadium has saved them, and now they're going to get their revenge. Akron declares war on Western Michigan with Toledo as their backup. Toledo won't do much, but Akron is going to come in as a wave of kangaroos and just demolish Western Michigan's army, it looks like. The Broncos are down to just 3 military units left. Toledo's going to send in what they can, but it's just not going to be enough because Akron's just going to come in there and just take what they want. Waldo Stadium's down to about half. Buffalo's going to declare war on Bowling Green, so they're going to get their revenge on the Falcons, who tried to invade them and take them out at one point. Akron does pull through and takes Waldo Stadium, eliminating Western Michigan. So that is an F in the chat as well for Western Michigan. And Akron is rolling now. They went from not having a military at all to declaring a war against Ball State that they really had no business of winning, letting Bowling Green do all the work for them, and then sniping Schumann Stadium at the last second, using that as a springboard to build this massive military while they were in a peacetime, and then now are probably a juggernaut in this game compared to the other teams of Kent State, who's been at just constant war, and Buffalo now, who was another late to the game team. Buffalo almost got knocked out by Bowling Green. Luckily, Bowling Green ran out of melee units, let Buffalo live, and now Buffalo is returning the favor by invading Bowling Green. They've eliminated the military. There's no military left for the Falcons, pretty much. And excuse me, sorry. Dwight L. Perry is not taking damage yet, but it's on the verge of it. It'll be there anytime soon. Akron's probably about to declare war on them as well. There goes damage to Dwight L. Perry. And things are not looking good for Bowling Green. So there we go. So Buffalo captures Bowling Green. Dwight L. Perry Stadium, Bowling Green has been eliminated from the game. That is an F in the chat for Bowling Green. And that is 3 eliminations in not that many turns. And we're starting to see the powerhouses show up. Buffalo, again, though, has that problem of if Toledo or Miami of Ohio were to declare war on the West Coast, or Central Michigan and Akron were to declare war on the East Coast, at the same time, Buffalo has to split their military, and it's going to be really hard to defend. Like, their West Coast is open. There's one crossbowman in the entire area to defend themselves. Everyone's over here from that war against Bowling Green. Akron does found Buddhism in Infocision Stadium, so I guess that'll help them stay at peace. Akron is also gearing up for an invasion against Buffalo. So in the next turn, let's say, there it is. Akron declares war on Buffalo, and they're going to have a pretty easy time. I think they have the larger military, it looks like. Buffalo's still licking their wounds a little bit from the war with Bowling Green, and Doyle Perry is beginning to take damage. So now this is where I'm saying, if a team like Toledo wanted a free city, I would declare war on Buffalo as well and take Peden Stadium. I would say Miami of Ohio as well, but they still have not recovered from that war with Ohio or Kent State. So this would be a great time for teams on the West to take a free city in Peden or Husky Stadium, but neither team seems ready to do that yet. Buffalo's military is holding out. They did lose Dwight L. Perry Stadium to Akron, but UB Stadium should be holding strong. So let's see how it goes. That's not good. So Central Michigan, Toledo, and Miami of Ohio also declare war on Bowling Green, or on Buffalo, I mean. And that's what I was saying, where Akron got Dwight L. Perry. Buffalo Stadium is in trouble now with Central Michigan. And Husky and Peden Stadium are left completely unguarded. And now they're at war with all of these teams. Central Michigan gets declared war upon by Kent State, who was mad at the last war. So now Central Michigan's in a two-front war that they did not intend to be in. So that may be the best thing for Buffalo. At least on the East Coast, because Toledo is moving in on Peden Stadium with no problem. Central Michigan getting destroyed by both Buffalo and Kent State's military forces, so that's not good for the Chippewas. Peden Stadium is captured by Toledo with ease, so they could quickly move south and take Husky Stadium as well, and really setting themselves up for a good fight against Akron later on down the road. Alright, so Kelly Shore Stadium is not taking damage yet. Buffalo Stadium is fine, because Kent State really helped them out there. Peden Stadium right now is a good springboard, but Toledo has not used it yet to take on Husky Stadium. Miami of Ohio doesn't even have the capability of taking Husky Stadium yet. Kelly Short Stadium is brought down to about half health, but no further damage yet. Akron is still rebuilding, and they look to be on the West Coast now, so they may be focusing on Toledo, which is more of a regional powerhouse that they need to deal with earlier rather than later. So Kelly Short Stadium down to the red, down to no health, but no melee unit to take it. So Buffalo could come in here with this pikeman and grab it. Will they do it? No. I don't know where. Oh, there he is. He left for a second. Here comes a musket man though, so one of these two can do it. Kent State is bringing in their own pikeman, and he's going to definitely get there first as long as he can hang on. And he does. So Kelly Short Stadium gets captured, and that is going to be the end of Central Michigan. So F in the chat to Central Michigan for making it this far, but not far enough. So Miami of Ohio has built up a little bit of their own military again. Toledo has built up a pretty decent military, but they don't want to invade Husky Stadium because they have to deal with all these units of Akron that have accumulated at their borders. So Miami of Ohio is free to go in and take Husky Stadium if they want. They should still be at war. Akron does build Notre Dame, or Notre Dame. I don't know if you pronounce it like the school or like the actual landmark that it's named after. Miami is going to launch somewhat of an invasion with all of their military essentially against Buffalo. Buffalo is bringing in some units to stop them, but it's not enough. Miami easily handles them. They were very outnumbered, outgunned technologically, so they have that trebuchet. Husky Stadium does start to do damage. They should still be at war with Toledo if Toledo wants to come in here and snipe it, if Miami can't and Miami cannot. So Buffalo's going to make peace with Miami, and now let's see if Toledo wants to come in here and take it for themselves. I see a pretty decent sized military. It's not going to take much to take Husky Stadium. You probably could use 3 crossbowmen and a few musket men. And here we go. I just saw it, them lining up over here right before the invasion happened. Akron is going to declare war on Buffalo as well. They do have Zippy, their kangaroo mascot, but he is over on the Toledo side, so they're going to rush in with more than enough units to take UB Stadium. And let's see, most literate, most technology is going to be Akron by 1 with UB, who they're going to defeat soon, and then everyone else at 36. So that's going to be good. If they can take Buffalo Stadium, then Buffalo's going to lose. Like, they're not going to get much production or science or anything out of Husky Stadium, which is under attack by Toledo finally. So UB Stadium flashed into the yellow as Toledo pushes in on Husky Stadium. Solidly at half health now into the red. Akron just needs to bring a melee unit, so either Zippy up here or one of these knights to come down here and actually capture the stadium. Husky Stadium begins to take damage. And Toledo just rushing in the units. With Akron actually at war with... Oh, Jesus. With Akron actually at war with Buffalo, Toledo knows it's not going to be a threat at the moment, so they are free to go take Husky Stadium if they need it. Buffalo is trying their best to stop the invasion, but Akron is sending in a Zippy to finally hopefully finish the job. On the west coast, Toledo does pull through and captures Husky Stadium. And so now Buffalo is down to just their capital left. Toledo does make peace with Buffalo. They don't really need to cross the continent and make the same mistake that Buffalo did in fighting a 2-side continent war. So, especially if it's going to be Akron that's going to be invading them. So, it's down to just Akron and Buffalo here on the East Coast. Akron's pushing through, but they've given UB Stadium time to heal. They could move some of their military that's over here on the West Coast to help, but then that would leave them open to invasion from a newly freed Toledo. Kent State's down here with a massive military heading over towards Miami of Ohio's borders. So we will probably see a declaration of war there very shortly. There it is. Kent State declares war on Miami of Ohio. They should have plenty of military units to do a pretty solid, if not fully successful invasion. Continuing on, UB Stadium is taking damage, but it's not out yet. Let's see. Fred C. Yeager Stadium is starting to take damage. Miami has no military whatsoever left. Akron is not going to be able to get UB Stadium without a full commitment to war. So nothing yet. Let's see. Fred C. Yeager Stadium down to the yellow, down to just under half health, down to the red. Is there a melee unit in there? There is one right there, but he's not close enough to take it yet. He needs to actually get in there and capture it. I don't know what they're doing. Move the pikemen. Come on. Or the knight. There we go. The knight got it. So don't worry. Fred C. Yeager Stadium has been captured by Kent State. So that is going to be an F in the chat for Miami of Ohio. And now my worst nightmares come true, where it does come down to kind of Toledo and Kent State, who are basically the same color. Slightly different. Toledo is a slightly lighter yellow than Kent State, but in the mini-map, it looks pretty much the same. So, oops. I was really hoping it wouldn't, but because I said something early on in the match, you knew it was going to happen. So, Buffalo Stadium's still at war with Akron, or with Akron, but not doing too bad, really. They're holding their own, and it looks like Toledo is about to go to war with Kent State here. So this may actually solve the color issue, but it's going to be a very confusing fight. So I'll try my best to figure this one out and narrate through it. Because luckily for Toledo, I mean, Akron's completely busy with Buffalo. They do have a military on the western front, but it seems to be more preventative than active. That could change. I mean, that could change at any time. But all right, so continuing on. I mean, Akron's just throwing units at Buffalo, but they're just sending them one by one instead of a full force invasion, which is what they really need. And there we go. So Toledo is going to join in a war, or not join, but declare war against Kent State and invade. This is a mess. I can see it here. I'm not sure if you guys can see it there, but it's mostly Toledo units. Akron's right here, or Kent State's right here. Toledo is definitely winning this war. Fred C. Yeager Stadium is beginning to take damage. That was... See, you can see where the battle's happening because of all the numbers that pop up. But right now, right here, this small contingent right here is Kent State. Everyone else, all this right here is Toledo. So Toledo has more units, better technological units. And Fred C. Yeager Stadium is brought down to half health in pretty much one turn. And down to the red, Kent State's running out of units. If Toledo can capture this, Kent State really lacks the units to take it back. But they do knock... That is a Kent State unit. So they do knock all of the melee units of Toledo out of the area. So for now, Toledo cannot capture the stadium. Up in the north, though, that actually used up most of Toledo's military, which is bad because up in the north now, Akron has a pretty decent military. But Toledo does pull through. A Lancer came out of nowhere. I didn't see him initially and does take Fred C. Yeager Stadium. So Kent State now down to Dix, Brian Earson, and Kelly Short Stadium, but Toledo has no military, so at least in the area. So if I were the Rockets, I would make peace quick. So Akron's still trying their best with Buffalo, but again, and if they're going to keep sending them in one by one, they're going to just waste their military units on a useless fight that they can't win. You need to send a big push, but they're too scared to because they're either defending or planning against invading Toledo. So they're not committing to Buffalo. You got to commit to Buffalo if you want to capture Buffalo. I have family in Buffalo. I know how stubborn they can be. So Toledo is sending more units right here. These are all Toledo. Kent State is down to just right here. And then some of these guys over here, but these are all workers. So Toledo kind of sending them in. Kent State does make a push and then immediately retreats back. They baited Toledo into attacking and getting chewed up. So Kent State does eliminate everyone that Toledo sent. They're sending this Lancer right here to meet these Lancers and Musketmen. Fred C. Yeager Stadium is solidly in Toledo control. Akron seems to have given up on Buffalo for now. They haven't sent... There's no units in the vicinity. Toledo making somewhat of a push for Kent State, but not fully committing, kind of like what Akron's been doing with Buffalo. Again, it looks like Akron's getting ready to invade Toledo up in the north. So Toledo does make peace with Kent State for now, so they are going to get Fred C. Yeager Stadium out of this deal, or out of this war. Kent State lost a lot of their military, but Toledo lost heavier, and Toledo has to deal with Akron up here in the north, who has a large military ready to invade. So if Akron makes peace with Buffalo, I would be very, very nervous as Toledo. Alright, so Akron does send a somewhat grouped up military to invade UB Stadium. They slightly damage it. It flashed damage for a second, but not enough. And they're going to pull right back again. Alright, so continuing on, nothing happening here. The war with Buffalo seems to be a dud. Kent State's rebuilding pretty well, actually, for losing a city. They've been spending all their time on military production, it looks like, and they have done a great job of doing that. If they were to reinvade Toledo now, they would probably take back Fred C. Yeager, but they probably wouldn't take back much else. I would go after Buffalo first. That would give you 4 cities. That would tie you with Toledo in the city count. And Akron, I think. If Kent State can get Buffalo, it's a 3-way tie for 4 cities apiece. If Akron gets Buffalo, then that gives them a heavy advantage of having the only team with 5 versus 4 versus 3. And it's a 12-team conference, so the first team to 6 or 7 has the full lead and will probably run the table. But that's not how this is. It's not just a majority. You have to have all of them. So it just is a heavy advantage if you have more than half. So Akron not fully committing to Buffalo, but they actually are grouping up, which is good. They want to keep Toledo in check, who has most of their forces on their borders. They have just a few cannons down here for Kent State, but the majority of their armies in the north for Akron. Akron's best interest is to declare or to make peace with Buffalo. so that they can focus on fighting Akron, who have they just land bombed 3 times. So they are deep into Akron's Great Wall. Akron also does, or sorry, deep into Toledo's Great Wall. Akron does form the Order ideology. They now have Great War Infantry, and down in the south, Toledo has used that massive military buildup and their peace armistice to rebuild, and now they have declared war back on Toledo and are pushing with a full-size military force for Fred C. Yeager Stadium back. Toledo rushes south to defeat or to stop them, but it's mostly cannons. Right here is all that is Toledo's furthest south units behind these 3 that are defending the city. And that was a very short war. So Toledo makes peace with Kent State for some reason, because Kent State must have had gotten a good deal. Toledo land bombs Dick's Stadium just to give them the extra little middle finger for declaring war in the first place. I'm not sure why Kent State made peace, unless Kent State knew they were doing something else here right now. Like if they were going to go after Buffalo and take Buffalo instead, I would understand it, but they didn't. They didn't lose many of their military. It looks like they have most of their forces still. Like they barely even started the war. The war lasted like 3 turns. And if I were Akron, I would invade. I would stop fighting UB. Like all UB is a distraction at this point. Stop fighting UB. Let Kent State take it if you want to, but stop fighting them and go after Toledo. Kent State does found autocracy. And then also builds the Porcelain Tower. Okay, so we're pretty even here. Akron definitely has the military advantage. Let's take a look real quick. Global relations, everyone hates each other, and then Akron and Buffalo are at this forever war. Militarily, Buffalo is very far down, obviously. Akron is on top. Toledo is in second. And Kent State is in third. So the 3 blue teams are all 1, 2, 3. It's all blue teams, but but at least Buffalo's is a different enough blue on the graph. So Akron has the largest military, and if they could stop wasting it on Buffalo, that'd be great. If they can, now that they have planes though, I see they have a great war bomber and triplanes, and are actually making a commitment to the fight against Buffalo. So Buffalo has no military. Akron sending in a full force and fighters to stop them. So this could be the push before Kent State rushes in and takes Buffalo Stadium for themselves. So Akron's making a dedicated push, because if they can take UB, they can finally turn their attention to Toledo. It's down to half health, or just above half health. Now it's at half health. Still haven't done it yet. And then they're going to retreat. So if I were Kent State, I would invade with your full force. Why not? You can get a free military production city out of it. Use that to join or declare a joint war against Toledo with Akron. Eliminate Toledo, and then hopefully you can get enough cities to have the 7 cities majority over Akron's 6 or 5. Excuse me. So the latest UB invasion by Akron has failed. They're using planes to keep Buffalo down, but they're not committing to finishing it. Toledo has a ton of money, like double Buffalo, who's in second, and way more than Kent State. Kent State's broke, and that's probably because they've been spending their money building all this army. Because with 3 cities, they're not producing this that fast, so they're building 3 units or buying 3 units at a time. Like Kent State's in 3rd place right now, it's pretty solidly. At least in terms of military, in terms of city count. And if they can take Buffalo, that brings them equal to everyone else, and then hopefully they can use that to improve their situation, and then maybe even the score a little bit. But as of right now, they're not getting any higher than 3rd. If they want to declare a joint war against Toledo with Akron, that could help even the odds for them a little bit. But right now, Akron's just so obsessed with Buffalo. Toledo's adopted order. Okay. Akron's going to try again with an actual invasion. Nothing really has changed on Buffalo's end, so let's see if Akron changes up their strategy at all. UB Stadium down to half health. It's all melee units. They can do it. They finally did it. Okay, so Akron finally pulls through and takes UB Stadium, eliminating Buffalo from the game. They came in 4th place, which is pretty good for a team that didn't start out very fast. But then again, neither did Akron. That gives Akron the 5-city advantage over the 4 to Toledo and the 3 to Kent State. And yeah, so now Akron is free to focus on Toledo or Kent State, and it looks like they're going to pick Toledo. Hopefully this war goes better than their last one. Luckily, they're right next to Glass Bowl Stadium, which is Toledo's capital. So if they can take Glass Bowl from Toledo, Toledo should crumble with Fred C. Yeager, Husky, and Peden Stadium not being nearly as good as Glass Bowl. If they want to go punch a little lower, which they actually could be doing, they're amassing down in the south now. They moved their military. They may have realized that Kent State's the easier target, and if they can take Kent State, they own way more than half the cities on the map, and that is more than enough to beat Toledo. So that would also make it easier to differentiate between the 2 final teams on the map. So there is the declaration of war against Kent State by Toledo or by Akron. If Toledo wanted to get involved in this, now would be the perfect time. Well, Kent State's distracted, while Akron is destroying most of their military forces. If not, you're going to miss out on basically Dick Stadium at least, possibly Ryan Earson as well. Because if you declare now, you can easily take Dick Stadium before Akron can get there. You may be able to get to Ryan Earson while Akron is still fighting for Kelly Shorts, but now you're going to lose that opportunity. Because Kelly Short Stadium is down to the deep red, Kent State's military is pretty much gone. Akron is swarming in, not taking it yet, but there it goes. So Kelly Short Stadium has been captured by Akron. That was not the capital. The capital is Dick Stadium. And Kent State's down to pretty much just these 5 Great War infantrymen as their last line of defense. So they land bombed Toledo for good measure on the way out. I guess that was just the responsive middle finger for the one that Toledo put on Kent State. And then Akron is still pouring in, but they have not. There it goes. So Ryan Earson Stadium is down to half health, down to the deep red. There's the Great War Infantry that can take it. He's far away. There he goes. And there goes Ryan Earson Stadium. So now it's down to Dick Stadium. Kent State has no military. There's a single cavalry. Akron's capturing archaeologists. The 12 happiness of Kent State's not going to do much in this regard. When you have no military to defend your city, you're going to go down. Here comes Zippy and his crew of artillery cannons. And yeah, Dick Stadium goes down to half health like immediately. These anti-aircraft guns can capture cities, so that will do. Dick Stadium down to no health, and Dick Stadium is captured. So that is an F in the chat for Kent State. They are the next team eliminated. Akron wastes no time in taking them out. They have plenty of units up in the north and now in the south as well from that war. If they want to just keep on rolling and go straight in through Toledo, at least now in the mini-map we can see the difference between the two. That darker blue is a little bit easier to spot than the light blue of Toledo. But I'm just shocked that Akron, a team that started out so late with the military, like they were one of the last teams besides Toledo. So the 2 teams with no military to start the game ended up coming in first and second place. Toledo luckily had the Great Wall, which we've seen so far has been like the best wonder to build in this game. Akron does now have the AK Rowdies as well, so them plus Zippy will be a huge help for Akron in this fight. Toledo does not have a unique unit that I can see, at least. But yeah, so just Akron and Toledo were the 2 teams I would have picked dead last in this thing. Like, they had no military to start. They were just ripe for an invasion by Western Michigan or Bowling Green, and then that snipe by Akron was just exactly what they needed to kick themselves into gear, and then they just rolled ever since. Like, they played their cards right. They waited, built their military up quickly with the extra city, and then just rolled through very smart war declarations to get to this point. So they have a few guys lined up in the south. Definitely some aircraft to help them out. There are a lot of guys lined up in the north. So just getting that final preparation ready. And then once we have enough military units in the area, expect to see that declaration of war. Not yet. We're going to go to turn 850. If no war is declared, then I'll declare the all-out war between the two, but I think we'll get there way before turn 850. I think we'll be done probably by about turn 850 if they declare war soon. Hopefully my stream is still going. I can see I'm in the red, so I'm not sure if you guys are actually watching or not, if you can see this. Don't worry, I am recording it if not, so you guys will be able to watch the end of it if the stream quality sucks. So Toledo is just improving their land. Akron does get the atomic bomb. And let's just keep going. Akron gets Broadway. They're building up. They're definitely preparing both fronts in this war. They have a lot of guys down here in the back that they're just keeping reserved around their cities. They have some guys in the south. These land tanks or land ships are going to be great for them. They have 25 wonders to the 4 of Toledo. So we're at turn 825, 826, 827, and things are going quick. So we may have to do forced war at 850, but at this point things are pretty much one-sided. But Toledo could be doing something crazy. Like, they could have a plan up their sleeve. Alright, let's see. Hopefully they declare war here soon so I don't have to do it for them. But sometimes the AI just won't do it. If they're too close militarily, they'll just stalemate for forever, I've noticed. And it's happened before. It happened during the official game. So these forced wars are kind of just a way to say, hey, don't forget what the point of this game is. And that is to take over the world. So there's Christopher Indentor. 849. And here is turn 850. So let's bring them to war here and see what happens. Let's try to end this game out. So we're going to go to... Nope, those are all the wrong things. Akron's going to be the aggressor. They have more cities. They're going to declare war to Toledo, and they are going to invade. There's the invasion. All right, so let's see what happens here. Alrighty, so there's the invasion. We are seeing an invasion here on the south. We got tanks coming in on the south, along with mobile SAMs, the AK Rowdies, machine guns, Marines. Up in the north, they're going straight for the Glass Bowl, which is the capital and the heart of Toledo's strength. So if Glass Bowl falls, that's going to be the end of it. Fred C. Yeager falls pretty much immediately. I don't even think it had damage before the turn I looked away from it. So at least now I can look at both. Glass Bowl Stadium down to half health immediately. These rocket artillery are going to be doing a wonder. There goes the Glass Bowl. Fred C. Yeager, Husky Stadium down to half health immediately. Peden Stadium is going to be the last bastion of defense for Toledo, I think. They got paratroopers coming in. Toledo's military is destroyed. Husky Stadium goes down. So it's just Peden Stadium with an entire army of kangaroos outside of their doors. No damage yet. There it goes. So immediately down to half health with rocket artillery and mobile SAMs. Quarter health. Will it fall this turn? Not yet. It's down to the red. Rocket artillery can get it. There it goes. So Peden Stadium goes down. And that is going to be the end of the MAC. So Akron is going to win the MAC. I will mark that down right now. so I don't forget it. I forgot to mark Conference USA's, so I remember it now, but don't want to forget that for the finals. So